Good morning, Columbia County. Welcome to Columbia County Connect. A couple of announcements early before we get started in our program with our Executive Director of the Columbia County Development Authority. Don't forget Uchi celebration coming up on the 17th of March. I guess tickets are available through the Evanstown Center site or e-tix. Also coming up in April, just prior to Masters, Rockford O. Darius Rucker coming back with local boy Charles Kelly. That's on April the 5th, a Tuesday night. You can get those tickets, I think, through the county website, but actually from the First Tee of Augusta, who is the benefactor of this great event. Always a popular thing during Masters Week. I want to welcome Robbie Bennett. Robbie, welcome to this edition of Columbia County Connect.
Thank you very much, sir. Very excited to be a part of this.
Tell us what the Development Authority does.
So the Development Authority is the lead economic development organization for Columbia County. Our role is to support existing businesses, support small businesses, recruit new businesses, and really spread the gamut as far as what we're touching. So we're not just working with industrial manufacturing, we're also working with retail. We're working with companies coming in from a warehouse logistics standpoint, the manufacturing side, and the new piece on our plate is Film Columbia County.
I think you do an awful lot of keeping up with the statistics and what goes on in the county. We have some things here I think came out of your office.
Yes, sir.
I believe we got some graphics that we can show. Some pretty interesting things about what's going on in the county. The population growth, we're showing there, 58% since 2000?
58% since 2000, from 2010 to 2014, we're the 29th fastest growing county in the United States. Really expect that number to go up when the new numbers come out this summer. But it's a great story to tell. We're full of a lot of opportunity. When you look at the growth from the comprehensive plan, what they're projecting over the next 20 years, they're saying we're going to add another 72,000 people to Columbia County. That is a lot of growth. That's a lot of opportunity. And what that does is opens up a new avenue both on the retail side and a way to bring in more jobs into the community.
You got a graphic here about our building permits. Why is that so important compared to our neighborhood counties? We're talking about almost 19,000 in the, I guess, 15 years from 2000 to 2014 versus 7,300 in Richmond County. What does that allow us to do that otherwise would not be able to do as far as the county?
For us, that demonstrates the amount of growth we're having. That demonstrates how central Columbia County has been to the regional's growth. So during that time period, we've grown at the same rate that Aiken County and Richmond County grew combined. That is an impressive story, an impressive feat. What that allows us to do is to broaden our horizons. We have more that we're pulling in from. It's a testament to our education system, the leadership in the community with our quality of place, and really people wanting to be here. But really what that's doing going forward is it sets the tone that allows us to go after more of that retail piece.
Well, the rooftops allow us to get more of the conveniences and quality of life things that the public wants.
Absolutely.
With better restaurants, more activities and things to do.
Absolutely, and we're approaching a new critical number. Everything that I'm seeing, once we cross that 150,000 in population, we're at this new spot within what the retailers are looking for. We're getting that new number of rooftops that really makes us more attractive. That in conjunction with what our average household income is. In Evans, you're looking at 106,000. In Columbia County as a whole, an average income of 84,000. That really talks about the buying power that the community has. So when you add those rooftops, when you have this household income, that really tells a story that retailers start to look at. That being said, Columbia County does have one lagging factor, and that's being part of a mid-level market. The Augusta metro market is not a major market, so retailers aren't looking at putting 3 and 4 different locations. You may get one location, see how it does, and get a second location.
It told us that a lot. This is a one location market when we talk to people.
And unfortunately, we're trying to identify and tell the story for Columbia County. What is our brand? Who are we? So that they'll put that one location in Columbia County, in Evans, in Grovetown, whereas historically it's been going into Augusta. So.
People don't probably understand exactly the way things work as far as recruitment. Part of your job that I gather from attending your board meetings on occasion is that site contractors are really the people that you need to talk to, because they're hired by the majority of large corporations, because large corporations don't want to get involved in that kind of thing. They hire people to find the best location, and those are the people that you deal with mostly, right?
Absolutely. Site selection consultants or site elimination consultants really are who we target a lot of our energy on. Companies, when they're expanding, hire them, and we've seen it going into the retail sector as well. Mm-hmm. Not only do they have their tenant reps, they also have an incentive consultant now. And what that means is they come in and look at a market, and they're looking at 10, 15, 20, 30 locations. By the time we hear from them, they've already dwindled it down from a large number. Mm-hmm. So we're now to the point where we're able to tell our story and get them engaged. And the way you stay in front is really having those relationships, which makes it a lot of fun and a good opportunity to engage with them. But you're always trying to make sure that you're not being eliminated from the process, and that's the challenge.
And you go to several, I guess, of these conferences or seminars or trade shows or whatever you call them, to meet those kind of people every year.
Absolutely. Week from this past Wednesday, I was up in Nashville with the Site Selectors Guild. It's about 40 of the top site selection consultants in the country. And they're sitting here talking to us about best practices. How do you get in front of us? What stories do you really need to be telling? The number one story that they're asking for right now is workforce. What is your workforce? What are you doing for workforce? And that becomes a big issue across the country, because it's not a individual problem. It's a national issue that everybody's recognizing. Who solves that issue first is going to see a payday. So.
Everyone that I talk to complains about availability of labor, people in business.
Absolutely.
The dedication and the work ethic is just not there like it was in the past. And I don't know the reason for that. Maybe it's the family unit or whatever. What's your take on that?
Well, it's the availability as a whole just isn't there. We have had historically in this region a very strong workforce. What that means, though, is we're building off of Fort Gordon and the spouses coming in from there. We're building off of a long-standing historical workforce. Mm-hmm. That new workforce coming up is the one that we're concerned about. As our existing workforce continues to retire, we have to be able to fill it back in. But your problem is you get students who don't want to go into the manufacturing sectors or in some of these other sectors that they're not familiar with. You also get students that really are focused on going to that 4-year education, when that 2-year education in our area in nuclear welding, for instance, can create a significant payday for them. And it goes back to the parents, like you said, the home units. It goes back to the guidance counselors and what the schools are telling them and what we're doing to get the message out. But in Columbia County specifically, you're looking at a community that exports 75% of our job force. Mm-hmm. Our educated workforce leaves every day. They're going to neighboring counties, to Aiken County, Richmond County, and that makes it hard to provide that existing workforce locally. So we're importing a substantial amount of workforce as well.
Well, the trend, as I was coming up, the trend was to get out of the trades and get a college education and do something that was office oriented. Right. And of course, the computer age has come along, the cyber age is here, but the thing is reversed a little bit. The trade people now, plumbers, heating and air conditioning people, can make as much as probably anybody's profession if they're trained properly through what you mentioned, the 2-year program or the trade school program, as opposed to a 4-year degree and additional education.
Absolutely. If somebody wants to come in and with limited experience, 3 to 5 years experience, making $65,000, they need a 2-year trade degree. They need to fill a critical segment of that market. Maintenance workers, welders, pipe fitters, all of those type skilled laborers are in extreme high demand right now. Many of our manufacturers and many of our industries across the board are needing them. And those skills are getting more technical and more specific as well with the computer age and all the technology there. So I'm seeing now the cybersecurity piece transition, not just from the military that we're talking about so much, but it's going into our industrial side with control systems. It's going into our healthcare with health IT. So the computer side is coming in and becoming a very strong focus. And it's even going into 2-year education as well to get into that field. So you are seeing a shift in what some of the focuses really need to be, or the opportunities that you are going to get, but you still have a stigma tied to, I want my kid to go to a 4-year college. And that was a prime example. I had a chance a few years ago to speak to parents at Harlem High School, first-year parents, ask them the question, how many of you want your kids to go work in the manufacturing industry? No hands raised. It was very telling. So I start talking about job growth, job opportunity, wages. How many of you do you want your kids to be making $50,000? Hands went up, $60,000, $70,000. And then I re-asked the question, how many of you want your kids to go into manufacturing? They all looked around, they all looked at me and slowly raised their hand. But there's a story that we need to be telling as a community. That's why the Development Authority of Columbia County, in conjunction with the Savannah Riverside Community Reuse Organization, is hosting a invitation-only workforce summit of our top leaders in industry, top leaders in local government, our top leaders in education, to get them around the table, to get them talking to each other and engaged with each other, to identify what our challenges are. We just went through a regional workforce analysis. It tells a good story, but it gives us some clear action items. Hopefully from this summit, we'll come out with some partnerships to implement that study and stuff.
Good. Let's talk about a couple of things that's fruits of your organization's labor. Tell us about the public-private partnerships we've been working on in the county for a while. I think we got a couple of 3 pretty good ones.
We've got 3 good opportunities going on right now. The first one is the new exhibition center hotel. Looking at a headquarters hotel, we've issued the RFPs, awarded RFP to SIG Development, and what they proposed so far is a 150-room hotel, looking at full service that will help bring in a new opportunity to the exhibition center, be able to bring in new events, new shows that we weren't able to get beforehand. And I think when you see that come in, you'll see a lot of new growth come in with it.
Now, what stage are we with that? They're working with the brand at this particular time?
Right now, they're in negotiations with their brand. We should be having a follow-up meeting this week or next week with them to really see where they are and what we need to be doing next to help them secure that brand. They had to wait on getting the brand until they received the official RFP award.
Right.
Once we get done with that, we'll be fast-tracking that project to get it to development as quick as possible.
I believe there's the one across the road here with the town center. The private partner of that partnership is interviewing architects at this time.
They are. They've set out an RFP for their architects. They're interviewing that. They've been doing getting some of the marketing materials together, getting ready for some of the retail shows that are coming up. They'll actually be in Charlotte today and tomorrow, meeting with some of the architects actually, and some of the other partners. They've been getting a lot of phone calls since we announced it.
A lot of attention to that.
Yes, a lot of attention. And a lot of local restaurants have an interest, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to bring some new opportunities there. But I think the Plaza at Evans Town Center, for us, really stands the opportunity for Columbia County and Evans to create a new identity, a brand identity, a sense of place, that this is home. Once the Performing Arts Center is up, once Phase 1 and Phase 2 are up, I think you'll see a lot of new, energized, and a lot of people really talking about this being home. Where are you from? I'm from Evans. I'm from Columbia County. And that's where we really want to see this
Well, it's gonna
happen.
make a tremendous difference. Tell us about the deal you pulled off with this, huge warehouse out near Grovetown. This thing is almost 500,000 square feet.
524,700 square feet.
Now, let me think about that a minute. That is, that's about 12 acres under roof, right?
12 to 14 acres is what they've told me. They've given me a range there, so it is a substantial
That's
facility.
a tremendous building.
It is the largest warehouse building that we've built in Columbia County ever. The only larger industrial building, I believe, came on in phases, and that was the Quad Graphics building. The warehouse is going to be used to serve John Deere. They're going to be consolidating some of their regional warehouse locations into one,
Right.
providing more of a just-in-time service to their to John Deere. Bennett Trucking will be the main 3PL in there. They've had a 25-year relationship with John Deere. This may open up some additional inventory and product for us to market in smaller warehouses that come available. So we're looking forward to that piece.
Well, I
But
understand there's not as larger one, but another companion warehouse may be going in that same location.
I had a conversation with them last week on that. They're still very interested in that piece. Timing's going to be key. If they hold true to their plan, we'll look at another 300,000 square feet. So,
You also had a hand in a big expansion at Georgia Iron Works.
yes, sir. Georgia Iron Works officially had announced a $39 million expansion with 53 new jobs. And what didn't come out in the story is that it was really retaining 100 jobs, which I think is a very important part to
Yeah,
this.
retention is as important as new employees.
I'm a firm believer, had this project gone up to Canada, like they were initially really looking at, where would Georgia Iron Works be today, or where would it be in 10 years? Because the new technology would not be on the site.
Mm-hmm.
We're fortunate that they've been a great asset to the region, to the community, for many years. They've been in Grovetown since the 60s.
Originated in Grovetown.
Yes, they've been a firm corporate citizen, wonderful, and it's their headquarters. So they're doing research and development. They're doing the administrative side of things, and now they've added a new foundry. They've almost finished, should be finished in April with their new warehouse. Expectations are that $39 million expansion really will end up being a $75 million expansion. So that becomes one of the largest industrial expansions that Columbia County has seen in recent time as well.
For those of you that are not familiar, Georgia Iron Works is probably one of the best kept secrets in the industrial world. They mold and make pumps big as this room material handling pumps that you can move anything over long distance, sand, rocks, about anything that you need. They can make a pump that will do that, and in most cases it's been cheaper than trucking items.
Absolutely.
And it's a very unique field, and they are worldwide, and just operate out of their own little section there in Grovetown.
They export 70% of their products globally. Their products have been used in the oil sands of Canada. They use their their slurry pumps to dredge the sands for the Palm Island in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
So their product can be seen anywhere, or at least in use anywhere. So,
What other things you've been working on in the last year or two?
well, we've had a lot of good opportunities, a lot of good growth.
You got to get somebody for Quad Graphics?
We've had some initial interest. Had a good conversation with several consultants while in Nashville, and they all want more information on the building. We've been waiting for Quad Graphics corporate office to release all the details on the building.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing all their brownfield studies, their phase 1 studies, to make sure that it's not a contaminated site, and to make sure they get it ready so they can market it. Once we have all of that information, I think we'll see some really good interest, but we have submitted on a couple projects.
I think what we need to point out is that the closure of that plant is not necessarily a reflection on Columbia County. It's probably a reflection more on the media, the print media, the magazine, the paper product industry, because that has been at a steady decline for quite a while.
And that is a true statement for what they've said to us from the past 18 months. It's not something that we saw as a surprise. When a company's stocks drop from $40 to $9, you know something's going to happen. our location used what was known as a griot press. It's a 4-color press that takes a lot of time, a lot of skill to use, and it's a very expensive process. They had some really good deals, contracts, and they lost a couple of them to their competitor. When you do that in conjunction with your overall corporate structure, having the challenges they had, it was pretty much inevitable that something was going to happen. But really, I think something like this becomes an opportunity. You talk about a workforce piece, well, 25 or 250 jobs being lost, several people did retire. Some have gone out and are looking at starting their own businesses.
Mm-hmm. But
Then you have a bunch that are being absorbed by the expansion and growth throughout the region. So I feel like many of the people, if they want a job, will have a job. The Development Authority, in conjunction with the East Central Workforce Investment Opportunity Board, actually hosted a job fair.
The one-stop facility?
The one-stop facility.
Yeah.
We hosted a job fair at the Augusta Tech campus in Grovetown. Had over 60 of the employees come out, and they're all really engaged. They're all truly looking, and think they'll come out good. But what that does is you have a unique building now, a 650,000 square foot building that there's not many buildings in the marketplace regionally that are this size, this length, that has rail, that has the access that this site does. So there's a strong potential to bring this facility back to a new glory, and that's what we're looking for. We want to be very mindful of who we work with, who would come in there to make sure they put an investment in there that makes sense and will support the growth in the future.
Yeah, you don't want to rush into it and just go to anybody that wants to rent a space.
Right.
You got to have the right tenant.
Absolutely.
Maybe a luxury car manufacturer that only builds, 150, 200 a year or something.
I like it. I like it. Don't know if it's big enough, but I like it.
Most people don't know that the different divisions of the county that are always working to make the county better, and Robbie heads up one of those. You got anything you want to add as we close this one?
Well, for me, I think it's important that everybody in Columbia County and the region understand that Columbia County is full of opportunity right now. We have such a growth and such a vision going forward that this is the place where you're going to see a lot of new growth, a lot of new happening. And we're going to continue to work with the county, work with our other partners to make Columbia County great, to do really good things here in Columbia County.
And two, none of us like the disturbance of our road network and our road improvements, but all that's a vital part in bringing people later on to have the proper access to the interstate and other locations to make your job a little
Absolutely.
better by saying you can get around here, you got good access for your trucks or
Absolutely.
whatever you bring in. And it's an important part of the entire picture that we try to work toward day in and day out.
Yes,
Well, Robbie, thank you for being here. Thanks for all that information.
Thank you very much. and
Anytime you
enjoy it.
got a big announcement or anything you'd like to go over, drop in and we'll take care of that then.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, folks. We'll see you next time.